All right, welcome to Dropping in a Pipeline Audio, or not that anymore, right? It's evidence-based audio engineering and education. This is number 141, and this is Iconic Reverb, and it's kind of a sneak peek. Something's coming pretty quick here. So if you're watching, you'll be in the know. So what's the know? So let me just get where... Oh! Okay, first thing. I know I've been promising you guys for like a month now that I was going to test the new X-Air 18 drivers and see if they actually showed more than the one stereo pair. And sorry for you guys on TikTok and Instagram. You can't see my screen, but rest assured I'm playing a video here that's showing with the newest drivers, out 1 and 2, out 3 and 4, out 5 and 6, and out 7 and 8. So they're there. Kind of weird that, you know, let's say the X-Air 18 has 18, what did you say, 9 stereo pairs. 4 stereo pairs are showing up. What about the other 5? But you know what? The reason we're probably wanting to use these Windows drivers or WDM or wave outs or whatever, direct sound, is for loopback stuff, like getting YouTube into Reaper or sending Reaper's outputs to other apps that don't have ASIO or whatever. Not just Reaper, but whatever your DAW is. And now these things are showing up, so you could theoretically send these to virtual audio cable or some other kind of loopback thing, and they should work for that. So you should be able to send your, do your podcasting, send your video captures into Reaper or into your DAW. Sorry. So I think that's pretty good news. We've actually used these drivers for like 5 shows now, and I kept forgetting to test that. But so the drivers have been working fine. I did have one time where I couldn't shut down Reaper properly, but that's okay. I think that was something else. The drivers seem to be stable, that they're working, and they've been recording all the shows. So go give them a try, and hopefully, if you do some loopback stuff with it, let me know, and I'll hopefully be able to test that myself pretty soon. So yeah, right here, if you so for once, when you guys are on the Instagram and the TikTok, you can actually see I have my laptop that we use for the shows on top of the X-Air 18 rack right here, and that's what I was testing today. So when this is over, I think I'm gonna go back and do a couple loopback tests and things. So the other one is bummer, no Helix 3.2 update or whatever that number was going to be. But I think we weren't really expecting that. I was just getting excited. But so for you guys on the computer, hopefully you can see. I'm going to be showing you what's coming out. This is a sneak peek. This is our reverb we've been working on. And we're calling it Iconic Reverb. And so I know it doesn't look like much. This is your very no graphical user interface stage right here. But the main thing is I wanted a reverb like the old H3000s, or even, I know people want to make fun, but the Digitech TSR 24 and 2101, where you really had a lot of control over the actual shape of the reverb. Or if I want to make that really bright gate of the old Eventide H3000s or whatever, I wanted a way to do it. And one of the issues here is actually being able to set the ER shape that you want, your early reflection shape. The early reflection in the real world, the early reflections we would call the sound that bounces right back to you from a wall in a reverb or a water tower or bunker or whatever. To me, I think that the early reflections tell you a lot about what type of room you're in and maybe what it's made out of. Depending how long it takes for them to happen, it'll tell you a lot about the size of the room. I think human beings are made to interpret early reflections, get a lot of information about them quickly. Because it seems like we definitely do understand intuitively what kind of space we're in by those early reflections. So that's what the ERs are. So in Iconic, you can use your regular type of early reflections. Okay, so a lot of this isn't quite working yet. You can change your your ER length, kind of the spacing of it and stuff, density, all that. But we have our own early reflection system here, the Iconic early reflection, and you can just go ahead and shape that early reflection however you think it should be. And I'll give you an example of this. And I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but hopefully this is going to make it over the air. Instagram and TikTok, you may not hear so much, but I'm going to change this so that it's going to be just our Iconic ERs. I'm going to get rid of the reverb tail. And I'm going to, well, first of all, I'm going to give you a sample of what this thing sounds like. The sample that we're listening to. So okay, so that's just the dry snare getting hit. And I'm going to give you an example of the early reflection here. Okay, and so I'll put them together. And so you have your typical kind of size control. That's not the size of the room. That's more the size of how long the ER is going to last, or the early reflections. So now you can actually envelope this early reflection system. You could even use it for creating those old reverse effects, like the really zippy guitar. Oops. Right. So I don't know if you remember, I don't know if they did it so much in the 90s, but definitely in the 80s, you had lots of times you'd hear these reverse reverb guitars. It wasn't really so much reverb. It's just that first little bit, and it's kind of like zip, 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 zip. It's a cool effect from there, but you really tailor your reverb sound with this thing. So that's your early reflection control. You've got your typical pre-delay control. You've got a EQ for the early reflections, and so much of this is going to change. There's quality of life things in here, like there's a solo just for the early reflections, or a solo just for the late reflections. The kind of things that otherwise are kind of a pain. I think we're going to put mutes in there as well. There's a blend control that mixes between the regular early reflections, like you'd have in pretty much any algorithmic reverb, and our Iconic ERs. So you can mix and match between them. There's a stereo spread for the Iconic early reflections, something Dave was working on. That's actually, I think, going to be the basis for some new cool plugins later on. But this is a pretty cool thing here for the iconic side. And then an early reflection density control, a stereo switch. There's an early reflections level control. I'd like to do a lot of this visually. I think we will as time goes by. I mean, I think a lot of you guys who know me know that I've been trying for decades to get a reverb that I was as happy with as the old hardware reverbs back in the day. And you know me, I'm an early adopter. I like technology, and I knew we would get there, but I was having trouble using it at the time. I was working. She's in Valhalla Vintage Verb for a while, and that was cool. So, anyway, I wanted this kind of reverb for so long. Let me show you some more of this here. Okay, so that we got the early reflection level control. There's a reverb time control as usual. One of the things that really does a lot here, there's a high pass, an amplitude, and a low pass envelope window in the controls. Man, I really wish I could get the displays onto Instagram and stuff so you guys could see this. It's kind of a bummer. But you do draw your own envelope. So let's let me just go through some little bits of this. And this is nothing that you haven't ever seen before when you're doing an amplitude envelope. But bear with me for a second. I'm going to put the reverb back in. Okay, before I go much further, let me show you in settings. There's and this isn't going to be here. I think this is going to be on the front of the GUI later on. But there's a warmer bright switch for the early reflection and for the late reflection. In this case, I want to make it bright. I want to show you that I can make the old H3000 snappy explosive gate sound here. So I'm going to turn this one bright. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to change this ER a little bit. It's a little too long. Okay. Okay, so here's the amplitude window. So this is just your regular linear reverb. I'm gonna quick fade it out. Let's see. So here's this. I'm gonna slow fade it out. So that's your regular amplitude envelope. But if I want, I can add some points in here and make my own shape out of it. And so, like, let's say we wanted to gate it at about a quarter of a second. All right, or make it a little bit longer. Or add some more points and make it so that even though it's a gate, you can kind of tail it out naturally a little bit more. Or, of course, you could see there's a reset. Oh yeah, here's another quality of life thing. We have an envelope reset and preset system, so you can reset your envelopes or all your envelopes at once. So let me show you something else. So you could, of course, flip this sucker over and make the reverse. Or anything in between. So let's see. There's also a control here to determine the mix between the dry input coming into the reverb or the early reflection coming out of the reverb going into the late reflection generator. So if you don't want any of the early reflections to bounce around inside your reverb, they won't. And if you do, they're there. So, and of course there's a late reflection level, dry wet mix. Our standard limiter that we have on everything, the off, soft and hard. We've got a late reflections pre-delay time, so you can actually start the reverb farther down than you were than right away. So here, check it out. Let me show you. It's easier just to show you. So that's how it is right now. I'm going to turn it up. So if you want, you can make a much longer distinction between the early reflection and the late reflections. I have some presets coming from Phil Zio and Jason Brian Merrill, two show regulars. And they really made some really cool sounds with this thing. Speaking of, so don't let me forget, down here in the modifier section, there's like a little rack. There's a gate and a ducking module. So you could do traditional gated reverb stuff or do other gated whatever that you want. And your input sources are going to be the dry input, the wet output, or the side chain. So there's a side chain input on these things. Same with the ducker. So you can duck your reverb if you want. Get it out of the way during the more complex passages. Really good for like lead guitar stuff. And there's a chorus for your modulation of the reverb. And this thing, like the shimmer type of effect, the octave effect, Phil and Jason both know what to do with this thing. It's a really cool thing, and I hear it on some of those new styles of music and stuff, but I don't really understand it. So they're going to have to tell you more about that. But I know Phil made some weird... I'll see if I can get that, may actually make that sound for you. So let me get a second here. Let me show you some of this other stuff. So there's a high pass over time. So if I add a point in here, so it says something like right now 165 hertz at 8.88 seconds. That means there's going to be a high pass filter that takes effect at that time. I think it smoothly goes into it, or you can make a jump into it. Let me show you. This might be easier to show. Okay, so here's how it is normally. I'm going to turn the reverb way up. And now I'm going to put this high pass filter over time. So that would make it really easy to simulate a room that's got something that eats a lot of bass and not so much treble. Like a really, really lot of fiberglass or something in there on some hard walls, On the other side of this thing, there's a low pass overtime envelope, and I'll show you what that does. So I'm going to turn it off. And I'll put a little envelope on. And you can keep adding points if you want. There's how you get one of those early 2000 software reverbs right there, huh? Just start yanking the highs out of it. Wow. I'm going to reset all envelopes to normal. And there is the low pass filter. Okay, so wait, I'm getting see, now it's a good thing that Dave is here correcting me, because otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. When you went to show off the reverse reverb, the low pass filter was still fading out the normal way, so the effect didn't work. Oh, oops. Wow, did I mess that up that much? But should that even matter? So our main developer is correcting me as we speak. So, okay. When I went to show the reverse reverb, the low pass filter was still fading out the normal way, so the effect didn't work. Let me see how that works. Hold on. That shouldn't matter though, should it? See, that's why I really don't understand how these filters work completely. So let's go to the reverse reverb. Oh, sounds like it's working to me, but if I flip the low pass out, oh yeah, it's a lot more. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, so I had, since the low pass was still fading out, the way you're seeing it here, the reverse reverb wasn't happening as much as it could have been, but it actually made kind of what I expected, but that's okay. It's even more extreme if you just take this low pass filter out. So, good thing we got real-time correction on the air here. So the other thing here, I don't know if I have Phil's preset, but he made the craziest snare preset. The other thing we got, chorus, octave. Yeah, let's see if I can pull out. Actually, let me see if I can load Phil's preset here. Oh yeah, here it is right here. So check this out. So he's got the octave on. Kind of a long, with this reverb, the reverb time kind of fools you. It's I think we're gonna have to recalculate this, but we'll keep it where it is. It'll just display something else. Maybe it seems to be a lot longer than it would suggest compared to other reverbs, but we shall see. Let me show you what this is. So this is Phil's snare preset here. Uh-oh, what am I doing? Did I have the gate on accidentally? You see, so he's using the ducker to get the reverb off of the snare at the very beginning. Smart. And then, so he's using this shimmer octave thing, so I'll turn that off. And they were doing stuff with guitar where you could really hear it. It was really, really, really cool. So there's on again. Yeah, so you can do all kinds of kooky stuff with this, but you should be able to generate pretty much any type of reverb sound you want. We're hopefully gonna start with a bunch of presets, so you don't have to really beat yourself up finding settings and things. But I think that's really all the little preview junk I got for you right now. And wasn't too much else in the news, as usual. Still going on where there's like no stock out there, which is kind of mind-blowing lately. We're trying to get some guitars for the kids at the school, and still not much out there. But I think that's it for me this week. Hopefully you guys will be trying Iconic Reverb extremely soon, and we'll